I'm Susan Brennan, and I am the Executive Director of the Iowa City Community School District Foundation. The School District Foundation exists to provide fundraising, private funds from our community for things that are outside of the school district budget. So things that are above and beyond and that the district can't cover out of any of their funding sources. A lot of people say, why do we need a school district foundation? We have high property taxes in this part of the state, and so why do we need a school district foundation? And of our property tax money, 85 cents on the dollar goes to our people in our school district. So the people who are teaching our students, serving them lunch, teaching them PE, that's where that money goes, 85 cents on the dollar, which leaves very, very little for the extras that we want our students to experience, and that's where we come in to provide those extras. And we try to hit every area, the fine arts, STEM-related extras, outdoor classroom activities, things that, because budgets have gotten tighter, things that have sort of closed the gap, pilot projects that the school district wanted to try, and if they liked it, then they adopted it as part of their budget. And so that's the financial reason, I think, that the school district exists. And then I think it's also equally important that we provide equity. And so when our students are in our buildings, some of our buildings have more resources or more ability to raise resources than other buildings. The foundation provides funding for every single student, regardless of their own personal socioeconomics or what building they attend. So equity is super important, and that's probably the one that makes me feel the most proud for the work we do. It feels good to be able to give kids school field trips to places they probably have never been and they might not ever get to go, but while they're in our public schools, we provide that opportunity for them, and that makes me feel good. So that's what the foundation does. We are the fundraising arm for the district on a whole. So our services are primarily for our students and the families in our schools. So they are provided to our schools because we live in a community that values our public school experience so deeply. But I think it's really important for people to understand whether you have kids or not in our public schools. Our schools are sort of the barometer of the health of our community. If our public schools are strong, it means our communities are stronger and healthier. And we just live in a place where people seem to get that it isn't just sending our kids to school. We understand how important that is. And so we primarily serve our students and our families, but our schools are our community as well. We are 100% funded by donations. And so we do lots of different things to try and raise money in our schools and throughout the school year. Just had one this past weekend with Run for the Schools just yesterday. So that is a huge community event that we try to promote to raise money for our schools. We have dine out events a couple times a year that we try to get families to eat out or take out to benefit our schools. We have programs with Hills Bank and with Green State Credit Union that help us raise money for our schools. We mail to our entire community. Every family in our district receives mailings from us asking for contributions. So we are 100% funded by the community. And that includes businesses and organizations are probably our primary funding source, local governments, all of our cities that serve our school district, North Liberty, Coralville, and Iowa City, are partners with our school district, and then private donations from individuals, service organizations like the Rotaries and Optimists. So we are kind of an equal opportunity to raise money across the entire community. The pandemic really affected our schools. It was an incredible, and continues to be incredible, although we are seeing normal school behavior, as close to normal as possible. But it was pivoting on a dime. Like most people, March 2020, we closed our schools, what turned out to be the entire remainder of that school year. And our teachers had to learn a skill that many had never learned, remote teaching through a computer. We had to very, very quickly get devices in every single one of our students' hands. We had to load on those computers software that they could access to continue to do school. And the foundation partnered in those efforts. That was our number one priority last school year, was to provide the devices and the software, which was critical for them to continue to do school. So the pandemic intensely impacted our schools, and we continue to see effects of what that meant. Certainly, we've had some learning loss that we are addressing this year and continue to recover from. But I am super proud of how everybody achieved a really difficult year in our schools, 18 months in our schools. So it was something we just had no training for, and really rallied to make that happen for our students. We collaborate with, as I mentioned, all the cities, the different cities, North Liberty, Coralville, Iowa City, all the cities that we serve our students out of. And so have a great partnership with all three city municipalities. We work with other nonprofits like the Community Foundation of Johnson County. They are a great partner to our schools. United Way is a great partner to our schools. And so lots of different outside organizations, some of them not for profit and some for profit. And so work with lots of different organizations. And then we partner with other outside organizations to serve our students. Our main focus, of course, is teaching the kids during the school day, but that there's a lot of barriers to learning, housing insecurity, food insecurity. And so partnering with our critical partners out in our community to serve our kids, to provide some of those emergency services that are so important to ensure that they have a successful day in the school. We have some really neat things on the horizon. So we at the foundation just finished a strategic planning process, which I think came at a great time right after the pandemic, and what does it look like going forward. And the school district did that process as well. It was called Portrait of a Graduate, where the community could say, what do we want our students to look like when they graduate and leave our schools? And I think we heard two things that were sort of the biggest takeaways from our community. One of them was providing vocational training for students who are not interested in going on to a four-year institution, but something in the vocational, the trades, would really speak to them. And that's something that is in serious conversation on how we provide that, how we make that accessible to our students and make it world-class. I think we are exceptional at getting our kids ready for four-year institutions, but we could do better in our vocational training. So that is something that we are really focused on, and I'm super excited about that, because we will partner with the district on how can we help provide that for our community. And then we also heard mental health supports. And I think that's a direct result of COVID and what happened in our buildings and the effects. And so we continue to see our district put in more profound mental health supports for our students. And so that's another area that the foundation has supported. We have something called the Nest over at City High, and continue to put in resources in our schools to just help our students while they're in our buildings. So those are two big areas of focus that the foundation is partnering and really honored to partner with our district.